All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. It's great to be back here in the show. I've got my other hosts. I've got Randy, Mr. Chill. That guy, the guy who is the party monster here in Lincoln, Mr. Chill, Randy Wilson. I've got Big Red Brooke Johnson up here. Big Red, of course. And DJ BJ, as they like to call her in other facets of life. And I myself am Kane Stevens. And you guys are starting to get used to us. You're starting to listen to us. And you're starting to, we're taking over your minds, bodies, and I'm not going to say souls because I don't want to get too crazy here. But thank you guys for being back here on Scratch the Vinyl. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Woo. Yeah. Hey.
Randy, you got a big trip coming up, right? You're headed to Vegas to claim all the plunder that there could be there.
Well, I'm making my annual trip to the World Series of Poker, playing in the mini main event. Kicking off July 2nd.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck to you, man. I hope you hit it massively, and then I hope we take this big show that we got here straight to the top.
You heard it right here. Our new streaming could be out of Las Vegas.
If I go to Vegas, I keep telling you to do this, but I want to go to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Like, that's the only destination I want to do. Isn't that sad? Like, of all the places you could go, that's the only place I want to go.
I think that sounds great because I don't know, maybe Pretty Lights, but I'd like to go see a show or something, but I'm not a big gambler. I mean, maybe Keno here and there.
Well, they say you only go out to the desert for two reasons. You might be able to see some ghosts out there.
Brooke, you're kind of like a squirrel. She's like, of all the things happening there, she's like, ooh, pretty light, ooh, pretty light, ooh, pretty. That's really all she's interested in.
Lights. Look at those lights. Look at those lights. Oh, I love lights. That's about what would happen.
Well, if we're not pumped already, we need to get pumped, everybody, because I'm gonna let Brooke do the intro to this. But we have, oh my gosh, keep yourselves together, everybody. We have a famous Lincoln guest on our hands. And I'm pretty excited, but I'm going to let Brooke do an intro for this guy.
All right. Well, this is one of my dearest friends. I've known him for quite some time. He is very, very, very talented man. He is a musician. I mean, he builds his own amps, his own guitars. He's also an IT guy. I mean, the guy can do it all, and he's very good at it. He also can teach the most tone-deaf person how to somewhat sing and play a piano or a guitar, maybe 3 seconds off. Let's welcome Mr. Zach Broshears. Yay! Hi, Zach.
Hey, Brooke. Thank you so much for having me here.
That was a great intro, Brooke. I mean, you're really killing it, man. Maybe I'll make you like the official intro lady. Like you're basically Vanna White for us.
Okay, but she doesn't talk. That's a great idea.
No, you're a cooler Vanna White. You're much cooler than her. Yeah, she's probably
my mouth instead of my hands.
Well, I can attest that Zach is not 100% of helping people that are tone deaf sing, because I have participated with Zach a few times, and his record's not perfect. Is all I'm going to say.
Andy,
there may be no hope for me, is all I'm saying.
But I'm just saying, like, even if it's for 3 seconds, you got it right.
Now, yeah, that is true. He did teach me how to play a couple chords and a couple things on the piano. That's true. But after that, I don't know.
What's crazy is I've been singing for years, and I'll bet Zach could probably give me some pointers on how to sing better.
Who do you play? Do you play?
I used to play out a lot with a really dumb band called the Low on Cash Band. I played with Drinking Money. I played with different it's more country rock and
But I think I've seen Drinking Money before.
Yeah, I used to play with those bands, and then I unfortunately had problems with my ticker, and I had to stop doing live. But I am coming out of retirement for the big benefit we're doing on the 21st. Me and the Low on Cash Band are going to sweep the nation's floors with some country rock for a brief moment.
Nice. Very cool.
So, Zach, I want to know about, everybody wants to know, what bands have you played in, your favorite ones, people you've opened for? What was like, and just tell us a little bit about your past history.
Well, I've been playing music since I was a kid. My dad used to play in bands since I was born. And I grew up watching him play in various bands. And so fifth grade, I started learning how to play the drums and didn't look back. Did my first bar gig when I was 17. And I've been playing steady all the way up until recently. I played in an original band called Aaron Zimmer Band here in Lincoln around 1999, 2002. I played bass and guitar and drums in that one. And we got to do a small tour. I lived on a bus for about 2 or 3 months. And then that fell through and came home with our tails between our legs and regrouped, joined another band called Polyester out of Hastings. And those guys were a good bunch of guys to play with. They were a lot of fun. Everybody moved their separate ways in that one. And then I started playing with another group of guys that I had met when I was with Aaron Zimmer. And we were called Willis. I did that for several years. We were an original and a cover band. And that was a lot of fun. Got tired of playing drums at that point and I started poking at playing the guitar a little more. And then got to the point where I was kind of lost in what to do. And my friend Matt McKay, he calls me up one day and he says, "Hey man, can you start a 90s band?" And I was like, "What do you want? What do you mean?" "I don't know. I've never been a frontman before. I don't know how to do this stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, well, we're trying to do this. We've got this 90s at noon thing, and we're trying to do this 90s at night thing. We're trying to find bands to play it, but there aren't any bands that can't play more than a couple 90s tunes. And so we need somebody to do that." And I was like, "Okay, well, when do you need this by?" He says, and this was in like September or October of 2011. And he goes, "By January?" "Oh, okay. All right. Well," so I spent 3 months putting together a band, learning how to play guitar, learning how to sing at the same time. And all the way up to the first show, I had no idea whether I was going to be able to sing for 4 hours straight or not. Yes, yeah, that's kind of how my start got it, I suppose.
Speaking of Matt, that's who he introduced me to. So we talk about Matt quite a bit on the show, and he's a good friend of ours. And Zach, one thing that I do have to acclimate you for and to really acknowledge is that you've given a lot of people opportunities to do things, whether it was being your band, whether it was myself with the radio, or just people have talked about you and how you are a leader. And with Flannel Channel, all those guys just give kudos to you of how you lead the band. What is your mindset when you are leading, when you're giving those people the advice? And I mean, even when you're like not the front man, people still ask for advice in bands from you. And so, yeah, just tell me, like, how do you process or feel or when you do that?
I guess it's not a conscious thing. Ever since I could play, I hit a drum because it's purposeful. I'm not hitting it. I'm not scared to hit it. I'm going to hit it because that's its purpose, and I play the guitar like it's there. I'm not afraid to pluck those strings and hit them as hard as I can and play it with as much emotion as I possibly can. I sing like I'm going to die tomorrow because I don't know how else to do it, because there's just no fear, or it's pointless to do any of those things if I'm not going to do them full on. And so ever since I was a kid, I'd be in the drum line in the marching band, and you're supposed to play along with everybody at the same level and all the stuff. And I'm the kid that's just banging the shit out of his drum. And they're all telling me, "Come on, man, tone it down." So to get to that, when I play with other people, I play with that same fierceness and intensity, and that somehow I think it might have an effect on other people a little bit, as far as how authentic I try to be with myself when I'm playing music. And then as a leader, I don't really consciously tell them to do anything. I just lead by example. I give everyone else their own opportunities to do their best in the way that they want to do it. I had a specific vision of what I wanted with this band that I was doing, but the openness that I had for everyone to have their own contributions for it, recognizing that, this isn't a one-person operation. This is a team effort, and I need everybody to do this with me. I'm the guy that sings the songs, but we are the persons that put together that show that everybody's watching, and the respect that we all have to have for and with each other, and the trust that we have for and with each other is the most important part of doing all that for us to be a successful band. And having that closeness and having that authenticity with each other and the way we played our music, it was important that I could exude that with us on the stage and to the crowd. I think one of our biggest successes was the fact that we played because we loved it, and we wanted everybody to know it, and we wanted everyone to love it with us. We weren't playing to anybody. We were playing for and with everyone. You know, the crowd was just as much part of the band as we were. Part of my ability as a leader was just surrounding myself with beautiful, wonderful people that could, you know, I didn't have to lead them. They came along with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Randy and I can attest, we've been to your shows. You can see the energy. We've talked about this on some other shows. The energy you guys exude within each other, it literally just makes us more excited to be there. And you would always thank us constantly. And it was just this most positive vibe. People had so much fun. People went from all around Nebraska, even actually in all the United States, to come see you, to be honest. And Randy, I mean, you've been to his shows, you know, I mean, they were killer.
Well, first off, again, Zach, I really want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for taking some time today to scratch the vinyl with us. Everybody that has ever been to one of your shows knows how much you guys put out on the stage. I mentioned one of your shows that I think was one of the top 5 shows of my life. I thought you guys came out. What you said was some great stuff about local music and filling a need. There weren't a lot of great 90s cover bands during that time. And there was definitely this new generation that was looking for that. And you guys not only killed it with some great covers, of course, but you guys had some great spins on some good songs and that maybe weren't typical. It really got the crowd into it. Definitely an asset to local entertainment here.
We talk about your Britney Spears one. I was like, what? And then you did, and you just rocked it. So tell me how you guys all come together. Because we had Chris Scheides on, and he was talking about the 10 or the 500 miles that he hated that song, but you guys made it. And I'm sure you did the same thing, you know, make your own music and you do your own. That just intrigues me. Like, I want to know how you guys do it. Like, you're just like, okay, everyone do a G. And then I'm just kidding, but tell me about it. Let's hear about it.
Oh, I don't know. You know, our practices were very purpose driven. You know, we weren't there to mess around. We all knew our jobs, and you know, we spent our time on our own learning our stuff. And when we got together, we had it all in place, and the practice was to just work on getting it all put together with each other. And so, you know, some of these songs that kind of started to turn into their own things, it was to a point where like, well, I don't really like this song so much. What if somebody jacks off and he does something goofy with like my brother would do something with the drums and just come up with some weird beat. And so then we just kind of noodle over on top of it and make it sound like this way or that way. And then that's how 500 miles turned into what it was. And that was a mess. That that was fun to play, but man, that one was a mess.
And I'm sorry for asking you to do that song, but you guys did amazing.
You know, the Britney Spears one, I actually had that one in my head before Flannel Channel started. I don't know, I was watching YouTube videos of, you know, different songs and stuff to learn how to play. And I came across this guy that played an acoustic version of it. And he just sat there with his guitar and he just went do, 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 you know, and he sang it real pretty and over on top of that. And I was like, well, what if I did that with an electric guitar on a distortion pedal with a drum beat behind it? And it turned into what it was. And that's one of my more proud ones. I really love playing that one. I tell people that we play it, and the first thing they do is give me this weird look. And I go, wait till you see it.
Something like this. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, Zach, do you think that here's a question I have for you. I like to ask fellow live musicians and especially cover banders, because I was in cover bands for years. For one, I don't understand why people crap on cover bands. I think that they have their purpose.
Yeah.
I think that but I want to ask you this: the thing that sets the good ones apart, and you guys were the good ones, right? Is that you guys find ways to change the songs like we're talking about, to make them your own, and kind of own the song and play it as if it's your song. And I think that that's the key. 'Cause some of these guys out there are trying to, like the most annoying thing to me was going to a rehearsal with a new musician or a new band and then being like, okay, we're going to listen to this and we're going to learn our parts and we're going to play it verbatim. And I'm just, oh, puke, as the singer and the guitar player as well. I'm like, that is the most disgusting thing we could possibly.
Yeah, for sure. I had a thought in my head about how I wanted everything to roll. And so, we'd start, okay, here's the song we're doing and here's how it goes. Here it is verbatim. Okay, now what can we do with it? Sometimes it would morph a little here and there, but the biggest thing I wanted to be able to accomplish was that we maintained the integrity of the song. We didn't want to turn it into something just completely off the wall, but not less as much that as we wanted to maintain the integrity of the emotion and the feelings behind it, and then play it accordingly. The goal with each show was that we were not a jukebox. We were performing a concert. We were creating something to watch, something to experience, something to, take you back for a minute and like you were actually at that concert in that moment back in the 90s, And to do that, we had to be real with ourselves and each other and with the music and let spices and everything flow into those songs so that they became ours, so that they were authentic in those moments.
You guys did a great job at it. I mean, you guys, I like I told Chris, I didn't get a chance because I was playing so often when you guys were playing to go see you guys, but I had heard about you guys in every circle. Like you guys were making what you were doing, basically the band that I wanted to do, was because I can play about 1,000 90s songs, and I do. I mean, now I sit in my studio and I thumb around and I play every 90s song I can think of. But man, you just did it on a high level. But what's the craziest thing that you had to have had some wild moments? I asked Chris the obvious question: how many tatas did you happen to see while you were on stage? Because even a guy who looks like me got to see a few here and there.
Or some panty thrower, maybe.
Yeah. Somebody in the crowd threw some panties at me and they landed on my guitar, Brooke.
Which area of the guitar was it? Your strumming area or your cordon area? That's what I
landed right on the tuning knobs.
Right on the best place for it to land if it's going to land, right?
There is always a difference between the ones that land toward Zach and the ones that landed on the bass player. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Did you only play big venues, or did you guys play some? Did you do some of the small bar circuits? You were kind of a more upper echelon band, weren't you?
Yeah, we played regularly. Started out playing at Red 9 when it was open. And when it closed down, we moved to Vega. And while we were doing that, we started playing at Rosie's every once in a while, because the guy that owns Rosie's, he's an old buddy of mine too. And he actually dated my sister for a short time back in high school. But yeah, we stuck with playing Vega. And then when Vega went under, we moved to the Bourbon. And in between all that, we'd do a little thing here or there. We'd do a private party. People would hire us for their weddings, and I would try to talk them out of it. Like, you do realize that we're not going to play Brown Eyed Girl. We're not going to do the chicken dance. We're going to play our 90s music, and your aunt and uncles probably ain't going to like it, and all the stuff. And no, we want you to do it. Okay. All right. And so we would do these weddings. And I always told people, you hire us for a wedding, you get free access to our shows for life. So from then on, anybody that had hired us, I just tell them, just message me and I'll put you on the list, and that was kind of neat. We had about, I had about 6 or 8 couples that would come to our shows regularly after that had hired us for their wedding, and it was such a cool thing that they wanted us to be a part of their experience of their life.
Well, that's how we met.
Right.
And in full disclosure, you guys did do one of my class reunion parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for Lincoln Northeast.
That's right. So we've done some little things here and there, but yeah, we pretty much stuck with the bigger venues here in town. Didn't reach outside of Lincoln too often. Played the Slowdown a couple times in Omaha. Got to do the College World Series one weekend, and that was wild.
You were outside during Pearl Jam as well. I remember that.
Yeah, I was at the rail yard. Yeah. We used to do that those decades tours in the rail yards for the '90s weekend, and then other special things. But yeah, we got to play in the park or in the rail yard when Pearl Jam played that year. Yeah, that was fun.
And you also did a lot of fundraisers for me, and I appreciate that more than you know. To look at you and be like, guys.
Cool thing about that we were doing at Vega was the owner there at Vega was such a cool guy. Eli was just a wonderful man and a beautiful musician in his own right. And but he'd throw any opportunity he had for us to do something special there all the time. And so we got to open up for lots of '90s bands that were touring and coming through and playing there. So we got to open up for Eve 6, Fastball, Vertical Horizon. Can't remember the other one. But just stuff like that. We opened up for Puddle of Mud out at the Royal Grove one time. For a cover band to do that, that's kind of odd, but it was neat for us. We played a half hour of our most energetic songs and just played the shit out of it. And
how cool would it have been if you just would have played their entire set list?
Yeah, right.
And up next, okay, we're done. Never mind.
Right.
You guys are cooler.
I can't think of a better way to get people fired up for a '90s, to be honest with you, than to play like an energetic set of like the best. It just hammer it, brilliant idea.
It was awesome too. The place would be packed for us, and then they stuck around to watch Eve 6 afterwards.
That's not a lie. I remember to be in at one of them, and there was a ton of people there. And I don't know, 3/4 of the way through, some of those they're dwindling out, and we're like, we can see Flannel Channel. I'm like, hell yeah, you did.
Yeah, baby. Talk about just getting a taste for what that's like to play, to a packed arena. I mean, that's pretty awesome for any local cover band or any local band at all, just to be able to play on the same stage with some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And kind of give you that taste of what it's like to maybe, make it big, really.
Yeah. And I decided that I was just fine where I was at.
All right, everybody, it's that time of the show. It's the best part. Well, not really, but it is a great part. And I don't want you guys fast forwarding through these. So with that being said, let's listen to the Elegant Sasquatch commercial, and then we'll talk about some of our local sponsors.
Hey there, human friend. Are you tired of your beard looking like a bird's nest after a windstorm?
Whoa, what? Who's there?
It's just me, your friendly neighborhood Sasquatch. I couldn't help but notice your, rustic beard situation.
Right? Thanks for pointing that out, Bigfoot. But what can I do about it?
Fear not, my follicle challenge friend. Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company. We specialize in grooming products that'll make your beard as majestic as a redwood tree.
Elegant Sasquatch? Sounds fancy. What do they have?
We've got everything a discerning Sasquatch or human needs to keep their facial foliage in top condition. Beard washes to cleanse away the forest grime, beard balms to tame those wild whiskers, beard oils to nourish and hydrate, and beard butters to make it as soft as a bunny's fur.
Wow, that's quite the lineup. Why should I choose the Elegant Sasquatch, though?
Because, my friend, we believe in sophistication for our outer beast. Just because you're a Sasquatch or a human doesn't mean you can't be classy.
I never thought I'd hear a Sasquatch talk about sophistication. All right, you've convinced me. Where can I find these products?
Head on over to the elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and use the code SUPERSHOW to save 20%. Your beard will thank you.
Thanks, Sasquatch. I'll make sure to check it out. And hey, maybe next time we meet, my beard will be as elegant as yours.
Now that's the spirit, my friend. Happy grooming.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the Elegant Sasquatch commercial. It's wacky guys, those guys, but we want to thank them for being one of our sponsors. You can find them on Etsy under the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Co. And get a hold of them for all your beard needs. I know you bearded gentlemen out there. I know you need it, so get those now. Also, let's get to local sponsors now. We've got Roots Music Shop. Roots is unbelievable. I've been dealing with Ryan at Roots for years since they opened. He has always helped me out. If you're a musician out there or just a hobby guitar player, go to him, get those instruments. You can buy, sell, and trade there. Also, they've got everything you can think of. Yeah, I mean, they've got mandolins, they've got basses. I mean, they just, you got to go there and see what he has all the time. He's always got new stuff. Drums, I mean, everything. They also fix instruments, so if you need your instruments fixed, you can go to him for that. And more importantly, they have vinyl records there, so you can buy some great used vinyl at unbelievable costs, and you can scratch the vinyl. Just don't do it there. Do it when you get home. So Roots Music Shop, tell Ryan that Scratch the Vinyl sent you, and I promise you he won't chase you off with a pitchfork and a torch. And then we have Sly Ink Tattoo with Bryce. Bryce is the best in the business. I've known Bryce since we were kids. He's an unbelievable guy, and he's really, really good at tattoos. So stop going to Becky's Boring Ink Emporium. Quit getting those ridiculous tribal tattoos. But if you are into that, he'll do those too. But if you aren't into that, if you want something more intricate or crazy, you have all these ideas, talk to Bryce about your ideas and he will make it a reality. So go to Bryce at Sly Ink. And, we just want to thank the sponsors, and hopefully there'll be more coming in soon. We appreciate everybody's listening. And now let's get back to our interview with Flannel Channel's very own Zach Broshears.
What are you doing these days? Are you doing anything local again right now, or are you practicing with the guys? What's going on, man?
Oh, I still play with the Jan Brady's. We don't have shows that often. We don't even practice that often, but we get together every now and again. We're playing some private shindig. So I still play a little bit, but nothing near what I used to. Kind of just slowed down.
You still have any hunger at all? Do you ever see yourself going back out?
Not necessarily making it big, but yeah, one of these days I think I'll get an itch to try again, and maybe just not necessarily Flannel Channel again, but something different. I kind of miss singing. Haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, I find it in general in life, there's a lot of things that you get super involved in, and you kind of pour your heart and soul in, and then you go through things, and then sometimes you just need to kind of step back,
Yep.
kind of get that kind of urge or that hunger again, and you can be in a really good place until that happens, and then you start thinking, man, I miss that.
Right.
And maybe you pick up the guitar, you start playing a new little tune or something. You're like, all right, I want to get back out there. And maybe that's just what you're waiting for, man.
It's possible. Yeah.
Also, I know you've helped people out with not necessarily lessons, but just helped them out that way. But you've also made, amps for people, guitars for people, fix them even. You do some really cool stuff behind the scenes as well with music. And I know that you always like to tinker with things and build and create. And even that is a huge part of music. And I know you're probably still doing that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I still piddle. I got a guitar that I'm putting together right now, and another amp that's in its stages of I need to make a cabinet for it. That's about it. It's about ready to go. That was something I really enjoyed about was not necessarily playing my own guitar on stage, but I always played through my own amp. And then the first guitar I built was about 4 years ago, maybe. Being able to play that on stage, and it's just sitting there going, this is not only my band, this is my gear that I'm playing through, and that was really neat.
I don't know if you guys, I'm not a musician, but do you name your instruments? This is Betty Boop. This is, Susie
Yeah.
Q. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
All my guitars have names.
I don't. I just look at them and go, there's the pretty wood one that I love. There's the Telecaster, and I hold it and kiss it. And
Are they old lady names?
Yeah, they're all female names except for my acoustic. That's Taylor. It's not very imaginative, but
do you have a preference for do you have a preference if you're going to buy a brand that is top notch? Like for me, I'm a Fender guy. It took me years to figure out that I was a Fender guy, but I just love Fender guitars.
I kind of turned that way. I started out being just a hardcore Gibson lover. Then I bought my first Fender Starcaster. That thing just played like butter. That's still my workhorse today. If I'm playing a show, that's usually the first one I'm picking up. So yeah, I'm kind of a late blooming Fender guy as well. I've got a Fender Jazzmaster that I bought back in 2018 that she's only seen a little bit of use. She stays in the case. She's a 60th reissue or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was when we were playing heavily, I was buying myself a guitar every year.
My wife would let me buy a guitar every year. I did at one point. I was up to like 20 some guitars at one point, and my wife was like, it has to stop. It just got to stop somewhere. But they were like lower. I would buy anything and I would try to soup it up, right? I would pick pickups and I would tinker with it. And that kind of answers my question. And we like to ask the different musicians, and I'll ask you this anyway. But what does music do for you, man? Like, well, honestly, that's kind of the crux of the show. What does it do for you? Where does it take you? And what does music mean to you?
It's definitely probably one of the most pivotal and important things that I've defined my life around. Growing up with music, watching my dad play. My grandpa was a mandolin player in a bluegrass band. Growing up watching him sit around the fire with his old crony buddies playing their bluegrass, and all that stuff. So it's just always there. And growing up, Dad'd be out working in the garage and you have the radio going. I knew at an early age I wanted to be a rock and roller. And signing up for the school band, they wanted me to play trombone. I was like, no way, man, I want to be a rock star. I don't see any rock star trombone players. Make me play drums or something. But yeah, and so also, being this involved in music has allowed me to meet some wonderful, beautiful, amazing people. And not just awesome people, but people I can learn from, people I can be friends with, people that challenge me, that teach me things. The experiences that I've gotten all because of music, I wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. The traveling I've done, the places I've seen, the people I've met because I was playing music or being a part of the music somehow, that couldn't have been possible without it. And there is not a regret I've ever had about doing anything to keep playing music or being a part of it somehow. All of those things, for good or for bad, they are part of my purpose and definition of my own existence. And I won't trade that for anything.
If you could give some advice to some new musicians, even if you're in high school or they're 12 or however old, or they're 35, they're 50, what is some advice for them? Because I know you gave me some, but I want you to say what, maybe kind of what you told me or what you tell other people, but you have good advice.
Best advice, and the first thing you should keep in your head is don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Be that friendly guy. Be that guy that wants to help out. Be that guy that wants to listen and learn from other musicians. Don't be that guy that thinks he already knows what he's doing and doesn't need to hear what you're saying. You're gonna create a lot more experiences for yourself if you can just not be a dick and be nice and be friendly. Take that job or that gig that maybe it doesn't pay so much, but maybe it's doing something that's enriching somebody else, for in a positive way, or it gives you an opportunity to learn something. I've gotten more out of this profession by giving than I've ever gotten from taking. And if I could have started feeling that way about it earlier in my career, that's the one wish I wished for anybody, is that start now. Start just don't take it for granted, and just listen and learn and let yourself feel, and it'll be all right.
And I remember you telling me one time, it's never too late. Also, I don't want to hear you bitch about your fingers just because they look like little boys' fat hands. You can still play the guitar, because you know people that don't even have fingers and can play the guitar. So I had excuses and flush them down the toilet, because anybody can do it. And I watch people practice. They're like, I can't do it, my fingers. And I just have your voice in my head, like, yeah, you can. Yes, you can. You can do it.
It's a learned skill, and it takes practice, and it takes patience. First and foremost, you want to be patient with yourself. You know, it's not going to happen right away. Hell, I've been playing for 35 years, and I'd still be the last guy to say that I could play anything. I'm always learning something new, or I'm finding something I can't play yet. Well, okay, sit down and figure it out, practice it, and give yourself a pat on the back just for getting that far.
Yeah. And even those, I remember you telling me about in high school, that learning the drums, those tick, 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 tick,
Right.
tick, you know, over and over and over again.
Yep.
Learning, it's so much more than just, oh, I can learn this song and I'm going to be a rock star. It takes the best of the best. I mean, you work your ass off for it. And that's why we talk about paying bands. You know, it's not like just all of a sudden you pick a guitar up and you do, you know, some crazy riff. You got to work at it, and it is expensive. It's time consuming, but you love doing it and it's fun. But, you know, it's hard work. It really is. But we appreciate the music that you do. Kane, you, Randy, you guys, I love the fact that you make everyone feel so amazing with your music, and you're so talented at it. And you guys really are some of the best seasoned MFers. Can I say MFer?
Well, you know, I do want to say another thing too, is surround yourself with other like-minded people as you go through this. I have had the blessing of having had the opportunity to play with such wonderful, beautiful people, and do business with a lot of beautiful, wonderful people. Matt at the radio station, I met him back in 99, 2000, somewhere in there. He was a DJ at the 104.1 The Point. I don't know if anybody remembers that radio station.
Yeah. Definitely.
But you know, we hit it off, and we've been friends ever since. And he believed in me, and because of that, I got a lot of different opportunities that might not have gotten otherwise, you know. And the people I played with, you know, my brother, the drummer, he's probably arguably the best drummer I've ever. I mean, is the best drummer I've ever played with. But he's a testament to the caliber of people that I get to play with. You know, Chris was just a wonderful bass player. Greg, Eric, Lee, Casey, all these guys that have been current or past members of this band were just all wonderful people that had something to give and something to add to this whole thing that allowed me to grow. But the main point I'm trying to make is that this wasn't just me. This was us. This was a bunch of people. And it was a bunch of people working hard and working together and being the best at something, and being able to love doing it at the same time.
I can agree with you, Zach, because I've always found it amazing in kind of our local scene that I was never a musician or anything like that, but I got involved in music and promoting, and I had bands at my venues and stuff like that. And so I got to know a lot of people, and I always found it amazing that I would know so many different guys from different bands. And then some of you guys got together, and I was like, it just blows my mind sometimes. It just shows that, to me, that sometimes it just takes, good talent draws together in a way. And man, I always think it comes across in your music. You know, I've sat down with you a couple of times, and we've talked about, what playing to a crowd and maybe picking out that one guy that you want to connect with. But as a collective, you guys had such cross talent, vocally, musically. It just showed itself on stage. And I think that's, what you're talking about is really what comes out of your music, to be honest with you.
It exudes positivity, love, and so much. I think if it was up to me, you'd go back on stage, but it's not. So I do want I want to talk about something real quick because Kane, I think he even wrote a song about it. The whiskey or something where the guy came up to you and he was like, handed you a note, like a funny thing. And you're like, are you kidding me right now? Okay. So tell us the Wipeout story. Because Kane has a funny story about when you were playing and the guy come play Wipeout, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so
You want me
Kane,
to tell that story?
yes, because I want to hear a funny story because Kane has a few funny. I want to hear that story because it's probably one of the funniest stories. Well, one of them, but yeah, let's. I want.
Shit, I was like 18 or so, and we're playing at this dive bar in Brady, Nebraska. I was the drummer at the time, and we were all kids, and we obviously underage, but that didn't make any difference to the bar, at the time. And anyway, so we're playing. All of a sudden, this old lady, she was probably in her late 30s, early
My age
40s.
now.
Yeah, right. And she comes hobbling up, right beside me on the drum kit. She's like, got her beer and she's kind of wobbling around a little bit. She's like, play Wipeout. Come on, play Wipeout. And then her husband, he comes running after her, grabs her. Oh, come on, dear. Come on, let's go. Come on. Play some Wipeout.
Did you play Wipeout?
I gave her a little taste of it.
Yeah, Kane had somebody give him a note saying he's playing it too fast.
Well, yeah, I had a farmer come up to me. He was an obvious smelly farmer, and I like farmers and smelly farmers too. But I'm wailing away at the guitar. I'm playing. We're playing a honky tonk woman. We're having a good time. And this farmer hands me a note, and I'm playing and singing. So it's kind of hard to do all three. And so at the end of the song, I look at it, and you can imagine the guy's voice, and it's basically, you're playing it too fast. Like, okay, farmer friend.
Yeah.
Right on there.
Like, while you're playing, playing it too fast, and you're okay.
Yeah.
That was at the Dingaling Bar in Raymond. We had a lot of massive killer shows at that point. I don't know if I think they still have bands there, but man, we used to have such crazy shows there. I can remember the door getting ripped off the front door one night. And we all had to take a picture of it as we were fumbling around and call, like for an album cover called Playing for the Door, because it was just like a bunch of idiot band guys like laying on the ground trying to figure out how to hold this door and put it back.
Oh, shit.
Because we knew we weren't getting paid if we broke the door, right?
It probably should have been called Off the Hinges.
Yeah, dude, we needed Brooke for these great ideas.
Right.
I'm just the door lady.
Zach, I don't want to take this interview too far. We would love to have you back on again. You're already Scratch the Vinyl royalty when it comes to guests. We're going to have a lot of guests. But, what? In closing, I do want to say this, man. I didn't know you from before this interview, but I mean, I'm falling in love with you, man. As a musician, okay? You and I are very like-minded, and something you said was like very poignant to me was just how you played your shows and how hard you played for the people. It didn't matter if there was one, right? It doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people, and that's how I play too. Is like, I'm going to give the people a show no matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm in an empty bar. I'm still going to talk around and do everything. And I love that, man. I'm very grateful that we get to talk to musicians like you. So thank you very much, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. A related part of your closing remark, and one thing I really wanted to point out too is, the importance of, we wouldn't be able to do what we did without those fans, without those people that make their sacrifices. Just, the cost of them taking time out of their day to drive to wherever you're playing. They pay the cover fee or whatever it is, and then they got to drive home, and they're taking time out of their life, their money out of their pocket to come watch you play. And if you're doing anything that disrespects that, then you're doing it wrong.
You are an inspiration. I've known you for many years. I've watched you do some amazing things for people, for musicians, for not even musicians, so many people. We appreciate you so much.
Hey, Zach, before we let you get out of here, we always touch on one thing with all the guests because it's kind of pertinent to our show, Scratching the Vinyl. Are you into vinyl? Do you have a record collection?
Oh, heck yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Right now, I'm wearing out a copy of Stone Temple Pilots' Purple album.
Oh yeah.
That one's
Of
it's
course.
just killer, front to back, the whole thing. Side A, flip it, side B, flip it back to A. I love it all.
Well, you guys heard it right here on Scratch the Vinyl. Zach Broshears, Stone Temple Pilots.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And please, if you have anything coming up, if you have any bands you're putting together, any big shows, get a hold of us, man, and we'll have you back on, and we'll get it out there. We'll talk about it. So thank you very much.
Scratch the vinyl.
Yeah.